Most people will never figure out why certain people walk into a room and everything quietly shifts. The conversations lower, the energy adjusts. Heads turn, not because anyone was asked to look, but because something invisible just entered. And that person didn't say a word yet. They didn't raise their voice. They didn't try to dominate anyone. They didn't demand a single thing. Yet somehow, the entire room reorganized itself around their presence. Today, I'm going to show you exactly why that happens, and more importantly, how you can become that person. Here's what nobody tells you about respect. It is not earned through performance. It is not built by saying the smartest things or having the best comeback. Real authority, the kind that makes people unconsciously lower their tone around you, stop interrupting you, and genuinely listen when you speak. That kind of authority is transmitted through something far more primal. It's transmitted through nervous system control. And once you understand the 5 specific behavioral habits behind it, you will never see a social interaction the same way again. Let's start with something most people completely overlook. Your voice. Not what you say with it, but the frequency it carries. Think about the last time you were nervous speaking in public or during a tense conversation. Your pitch went up. Your words came faster. Your sentences felt rushed and thin. That wasn't a coincidence. When the body enters stress mode, the breath shortens, the throat tightens, and the voice begins to reflect internal chaos. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Every person in that room heard it, not consciously, biologically. For thousands of years of human evolution, a calm, grounded voice signaled survival capability. A shaky, high-pitched, fast-talking voice signaled threat response. We are literally wired to read this in other people without even trying. That's exactly why the loudest person in any room often feels the weakest. They're using volume to compensate for uncertainty. But the person who speaks slowly, deliberately, from low in the diaphragm with deep resonance, that person pulls people in without chasing them. You've experienced this before. A crowded, noisy space, someone speaks quietly, and somehow everyone leans closer. That's not magic. That's psychological gravity. So here's something practical you can try today. The next time someone challenges you publicly, don't immediately fire back. Instead, breathe into your stomach first. Slow your exhale. Then speak just half a second slower than your natural instinct. You'll notice something remarkable. People stop interrupting because measured speech under pressure is one of the clearest subconscious signals of confidence that exists. But vocal control alone only takes you so far. The real shift in how people perceive you happens when you combine it with something most people fear more than embarrassment itself: silence. Silence is uncomfortable. Most people use conversation to regulate their anxiety. So the moment any tension appears in a room, they rush to fill it. They explain too much. They defend too quickly. They laugh a little too loudly at the wrong moment. But watch someone who truly commands authority, and you'll see something completely different. They pause, not accidentally, but deliberately. Imagine someone asks you a sharp, challenging question in front of a group. Most people answer instantly because hesitation feels like weakness. But the person with genuine authority waits 3 full seconds. Not because they're scrambling for an answer, because they're not emotionally rushed. And that pause changes the entire power dynamic. Instead of reacting to the room, they make the room wait for them. Psychologically, making people wait creates perceived value. The silence itself communicates something powerful. I am comfortable here. Tension does not move me. There's a deeper layer to this that most people completely miss. Silence doesn't just project confidence. It creates pressure. And whoever collapses under that pressure first reveals who is actually in control. Watch any serious negotiation. The side with less confidence starts over-explaining. The stronger side stays still and quiet. That stillness forces the other person to reveal more, concede more, offer more, because humans are wired to resolve uncomfortable silence. Someone always rushes to break it, and the person who breaks first almost always gives away their emotional leverage without realizing it. Now combine that deliberate silence with physical stillness, and your presence becomes almost impossible to ignore, because before you ever say a word, your body is already speaking. And for most people, it's leaking insecurity everywhere. Constant shifting in their seat, touching their face, adjusting their clothing, their eyes scanning the room for approval, fingers tapping, head nodding compulsively at everything. These small unconscious behaviors signal internal instability to everyone around you. In evolutionary psychology, unnecessary movement under stress indicates uncertainty or submission. The nervous system is essentially broadcasting, "I am not in control right now." But people who carry real authority move differently. They conserve their motion, not stiffly, not robotically, controlled. Think about the most quietly intimidating person you've ever encountered. Chances are they didn't move much, because stillness signals something deeply powerful to the human brain. It says, "I don't need to protect myself." There's a technique some behavioral analysts call the anchor. It's simple. When someone speaks to you, reduce unnecessary head movement. Hold your posture steady. Let your reactions come from calm observation rather than anxious response. At first, it feels unnatural because most of us have been conditioned our whole lives to signal constant approval. But once you develop controlled stillness, something fascinating happens. The people around you begin to adjust themselves. Their movements increase. Their speech speeds up. They start seeking your reaction. And without a single aggressive word, you have created psychological weight in that room. Now let's talk about eye contact, because this is where most people get it completely wrong. The real test of eye contact isn't whether you can hold someone's gaze while you're talking. Almost anyone can do that. The real test is whether you can hold it while you're listening, especially under pressure. Picture this. Someone publicly challenges you, criticizes your idea, or tries to provoke a reaction. Most people, the moment that person finishes speaking, instinctively break eye contact. Their eyes dip for a split second while they gather their response. And that tiny movement, that barely noticeable break, communicates discomfort to everyone watching. But people who command rooms maintain visual consistency, especially in the moments right after the other person stops talking. Because that moment, that charged silence, right after tension, is where the subconscious battle for emotional control plays out. Who breaks eye contact first? Who shifts physically first? Who starts rambling first to escape the discomfort? People read these signals constantly without realizing it. This is exactly why skilled interviewers sometimes go deliberately quiet after an answer. They want to see if you'll collapse into nervous elaboration. And most people do. But someone with strong internal regulation stays visually present, calm, unaffected. Their gaze communicates without a single word. "I heard you, and I'm not moved." In a world where every person around you is mentally fragmented by screens and notifications and constant overstimulation, that kind of focused, unshakable attention feels rare. And rare things are always perceived as valuable. The final habit is the one that quietly amplifies everything else. And it's called selective recognition. Most people overvalidate constantly. They laugh too fast, agree too quickly, overpraise mediocre comments, and react enthusiastically to almost everything. And the reason is simple. They're afraid of disconnection. But here's what that pattern actually communicates: eagerness. And eagerness immediately lowers perceived status in any social environment. Think about the people in your life whose approval actually means something to you. They probably don't react to everything equally. When they give a compliment, it carries weight because it isn't automatic. When they nod, it feels earned. When they laugh, the room notices because it doesn't happen for everything. Their reactions land harder precisely because they aren't reflexive. This doesn't mean becoming cold or emotionally unavailable. It means stopping the unconscious habit of handing out approval just to manage your own discomfort. When someone tells a joke, a calm, genuine smile often lands more powerfully than explosive laughter. When someone shares an opinion, a brief pause before you respond signals that you think independently. When someone looks to you for validation, a measured response creates far more respect than overenthusiasm ever could, because humans naturally value what feels emotionally disciplined. Here's what ties all 5 of these habits together. None of them work as a performance. People can sense manufactured confidence within seconds. Force a deep voice and it sounds theatrical. Imitate stillness mechanically and it feels threatening rather than calm. Hold eye contact like a dominance contest and it becomes aggression, not authority. The goal was never domination. The goal is the complete absence of desperation. No desperate need to be liked. No desperate need to fill silence. No desperate need to win every exchange. And here's the beautiful paradox buried inside all of this. The less desperately you chase respect, the more naturally and effortlessly people extend it to you. The strongest presence in any room is almost always the person least concerned with proving they belong there. So the next time you walk into a space, a meeting, a social event, a difficult conversation, notice what the majority of people around you are doing. They're rushing, fidgeting, seeking approval, filling every silence, escaping tension at every opportunity. And then choose something different. Slow your breath, lower your pace, pause before you respond, stay physically grounded. Hold your gaze without flinching. Give measured reactions instead of automatic ones. At first, people may not be able to articulate why your presence feels different, but they will feel it. Because beneath language, beneath personality, beneath every social performance we put on, humans are running one constant background scan. Who stays calm when pressure enters the room? Be that person, not through force, not through volume, through something far rarer and far more powerful than either: control. If this video shifted something in how you think about presence and authority, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want more content on the psychology behind human behavior and social dynamics, subscribe, because we're just getting started.